The amazing country of Nepal is considered to be one of the most diverse, scenic nations of our world. Steamy jungles of the south give rise to a heartland of terraced hills and valleys that lead up to breathtaking mountain ranges that are home to some of the highest peaks in the world, including Mount Everest. Sandwiched between the rapidly developing nations of China and India, Nepal lags far behind, holding the distinction of being one of the least developed nations of the world. Isolated not only by rugged terrain, but also by a suspicious monarchy, the country of Nepal only opened up its borders to the rest of the world in the 1950s. While this has uniquely preserved a wide variety of ancient cultures and traditions, it has also kept the people of Nepal trapped in poverty and deprivation. During the mid-1990s, frustration over the lack of services and representation led to unrest, demonstrations, and the organization of a movement that captured the imagination and support of many of the nation's rural poor. Based on principles of communism and the teachings of Chairman Mao, the movement promised the hope of a better life for the poor, one filled with many new opportunities. In 2001, the demonstrations developed into widespread armed clashes and civil war. Over the course of the next 5 years, this conflict resulted in the death of over 15,000 people. Many thousands more were displaced from their homes. One of the saddest tragedies of any war is the traumatizing effect that it can have on surviving children. In Nepal, thousands of young boys and girls lost their youth as they were drawn into the conflict. Through deceit, pressure and intimidation, they were recruited to join in the war effort and become child soldiers.
Soldiers from both sides of the conflict would stop at our school and intimidate us. They would threaten to kill us or our teachers if we did not do as they asked. One time, we were all forced to watch as our teacher was killed right before us. Soon after this, my father was captured by a group of soldiers and tortured by them. As a result of his injuries, he also died. After this, I was forced to join the fight. I was only 13 years old at the time.
I was 14 when the conflict came to our village. The armies from both sides would come through and force us to do things for them. The soldiers were very persuasive. They told me that if I stayed in the village, the army of the other side of the conflict would most certainly kill me. Out of fear for my life, I decided to go with them and work with them.
During the conflict, the armies from both sides would pass through our village. The soldiers of the Nationalist Army would accuse us of being Maoists and threaten to kill us if we did not give them information. When the Maoist soldiers would come through, they would tell us that our only hope was to join their cause and fight with them. That the next time the Nationalists came, they probably would kill us. It was a time of great fear.
Soldiers and recruiters used to come to our school or meet us as we walked to and from school. We were compelled, often by force, to join them on their campaign. During my time with the army, I worked as a sentry guard. It was a very difficult time for me. Even though the conflict is over now, I'm still overwhelmed with sadness. I cannot remember a single day of happiness in my life.
When young children are pulled away from their families, communities and schools and forced into the life of a soldier, where they witness or are even forced to participate in acts of violence, it has a traumatizing impact that leaves vulnerable lives with lasting scars. Of those that may have returned to their villages physically whole, many suffer from deep emotional and psychological wounds that may never fully heal. Their childhood has been stolen from them. Now that the conflict has ended, they find themselves back in their village with no education and no opportunity. With no skills, they are marginalized and become particularly vulnerable to human trafficking, bonded labor, and sexual exploitation. Without some type of intervention, many of these children would quickly disappear from the village and may spend the rest of their lives in a foreign factory or brothel. Working together with ASTHA, a local non-governmental organisation, on a programme funded by the European Commission and ADRA UK, ADRA Nepal is working in the rural areas of the country that have been the most affected by the war. The primary goal of the programme is to find the children whose lives have been disrupted or arrested by the conflict and help them find their way back to a meaningful and purposeful life. The programme starts with the basics.
A few months ago, ADRA came to our village to discuss how they might be able to help the children who have been affected by the conflict. It was decided that the best first step would be to conduct literacy classes to help young people learn how to read. I was invited to become a literacy facilitator and went to the ADRA office for a 6-day training programme to learn how to be a good facilitator. I now teach classes every day. The classes run for 2 hours.
Once these young people have gained the confidence of basic literacy and numeracy skills, they will be in a much better position to reintegrate into their local primary school programme and hopefully quickly accelerate on to high school. Others, who may feel uncomfortable at their age going back to school with children much younger than themselves, may choose to go directly into one of the vocational or skills training programs that ADRA is conducting.
Because I am 21, it is just a little impractical to go to a regular school and sit with the young children. I have a real interest in tailoring, and so I'm hoping that once I have completed the basic training classes that ADRA is conducting, I will be able to join one of the skills training programs and learn how to sew. In this way, I hope to become self-dependent.
I'm looking forward to taking part in the vocational training that ADRA will be doing here. My goal is to one day be able to work with computers. I don't know if I will ever be able to get a full education for myself, but I hope that I will one day be able to make enough money in my vocation to be able to support my children to one day go to university.
I am really enjoying the literacy classes that I am taking. They're telling us that these classes will be followed up with vocational training and that we will have the opportunity to learn a trade that we can use to support ourselves and our families. I hope to one day become a tailor. I am now putting all my hopes in ADRA.
I am very thankful for the ADRA program that has come to my village. I am hoping that with the training that I get from this program, that I will one day be able to go back to school and continue my formal education.
Besides computers and tailoring, the ADRA program is teaching other income-generating skills such as market gardening, beekeeping, animal husbandry, bamboo raising and basket making. As these young people learn skills and trades that are important to the local economy, they are much more likely to remain in their community and live lives that contribute to local development rather than be lost to human trafficking. The program is also working to educate children and parents, as well as community leaders, about the rights of a child. Through campaigns on the radio, the training of social workers, and the distribution of pamphlets, posters and booklets, people are learning about basic human rights that will lead to the protection of children and gender-based violence and exploitation.
One of our major objectives in this program is to empower children and their families to claim their rights. We are doing this through child rights and child protection training. We are forming child clubs at the community level and awareness-building networks in the district level. We also work to sensitize government and community leaders about the rights of every child and outline their responsibilities to ensure that every child will be able to claim their rights and seek protection when they are at risk. A third objective of the program is to help young people work through the trauma that they have experienced. Through individual and group counseling, these young victims of war are finding healing and restoration.
I am working with ADRA to reduce the impact of the conflict in this community. I grew up in this district of Nepal, and I have first-hand knowledge of the tragedies that this conflict has had on our community. This ADRA programme is meeting a real need. Most of the children that have been affected by the conflict have not received any type of help from either the government or any other type of agency. This programme has been a wonderful help to the children here and the communities in which they live. This programme not only gives these children healing, but also a new hope for the future.
The fight against global poverty takes many forms. In the rural villages of Nepal, it is as simple as helping children get their life back, ensuring their basic human rights are met, and giving them tools to a brighter future. To find out more about this programme and other ways that ADRA UK is helping children around the world escape poverty and build better, happier lives, please visit our website at adra.org.uk. Thank you for your support.